mean, this dude, he looks horrible. He looks absolutely horrible. I said, yo, bench him, bring in Flacco right now. You want to try to win this game. Get him out of there because he was completely lost. He was completely in over his head.
Once upon a time, a quarterback was the second pick in the draft, and because of a combination of performance and attitude in the locker room, his career wound up lasting almost no time. His name was Ryan Leaf. We do 30 for 30s about him. That's the territory that we are in right this minute with Zach Wilson, if indeed, and Tim is not the only one who was suggesting that the Jets are prepared to move on from Zach Wilson for good. We're talking about legendary territory here if this thing is over this quickly.
When your stats are on par with Jamarcus Russell, and the only difference is Jamarcus drank scissor and you're drinking your own Kool-Aid, that's it. Clearly, when Zach Wilson said, flippantly, did you let this team down, this defense down? No. Clearly, that left a mark.
Zach Wilson sucks. I don't even know where to start. The New York Jets selected Zach Wilson second at the 2021 NFL Draft, and to this point, he has done absolutely nothing to show that he can be the Jets' long-term solution at quarterback. He was bad as a rookie, and somehow he may be even worse this season, and no week made that more clear than Week 11. Zach Wilson hasn't been playing well, but everything has blown up after the Jets' Week 11 loss to the Patriots. New England won the first meeting between the two in Week 8, a game where Wilson tossed 3 interceptions. On Sunday, the Jets lost once again, losing their 14th straight to the Patriots, and it was maybe the most brutal. The game had to be one of the worst offensive games I've seen in my entire life. It looked like it was heading to OT without a single touchdown score until Marcus Jones took a punt back to the house with 5 seconds left to win 10-3. It was a tough loss, and honestly deserved for the Jets. New York had 7 possessions in the second half. They had 2 yards. Yes, just 2 yards in 30 minutes. Robert Saleh was asked about the offensive performance post-game, and he was pretty candid.
Coach, can you talk about the second half, especially the offense? 7 possessions, only 2 total yards.
It was dog.
He obviously wasn't very thrilled with the offensive performance, and Wilson was asked post-game if he had felt like he had let the defense down, and he said no.
As an offense, though, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. Do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No.
Let's be real here. It was his fault. He was terrible, and also told the reporters that they had to account for the weather because it was windy. Well, Mac Jones played fine and completed 23 of 37 for 246 yards in the exact same conditions. Meanwhile, Wilson was 9 of 22 for 77 yards, and he looked horrible. There are 3 big plays to look at here, including by far the worst of the game from Wilson. It's a 3rd and 2 late in the half, and he drops back and has a wide open Tyler Conklin, and somehow Wilson just sails it horribly. It 100% should have been picked off by Devin McCourty. That is an easy throw to a wide open target and airmails it to what should have been an easy interception. That's a play that just shows a horrible throw. How about bad vision? 2nd and 9, early second quarter. This is the drive that the Jets did hit a field goal. Wilson drops back to pass and ends up scrambling out to the left, but wait, look how wide open Denzel Mims is. Wide open. It even looks like Wilson saw Mims deep, wide open, and just didn't throw the ball. That's an easy touchdown if he makes that throw. I just don't understand what Zach Wilson is doing in the pocket sometimes. Elijah Moore has obviously been causing a lot of drama over in New York, but I do think he has a point. Here's the Jets' last drive of the game that eventually led to the punt return touchdown. 1st and 10, and Elijah Moore is running a comeback, and he gets wide open. There's no pressure at all. Zach Wilson does see him and throws it, but he's super late, and it ends up just being an incomplete pass. That's just the little thing sometimes, and that's the issue. Zach Wilson can't even do the little things. After the game, Robert Saleh didn't make it sound like the Jets were sold on Zach Wilson being the starter going forward, and it was announced on Wednesday that Mike White will be starting in his place. But let's be real here, that might be the right call because the Zach Wilson experiment isn't working. This season in general has been tough for Zach Wilson. He is 5-2. but he hasn't played well, and really the Jets have been winning games despite him, not because of him. He missed the first 3 games of the year with a meniscus tear that he suffered in the preseason, so he didn't make his season debut until week 4. In 7 games played, Wilson has thrown for 1,200 yards and only 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. For extra context, Joe Flacco played the first 3 Jets games of the season and had 5 touchdowns. Zach Wilson is only completing 55.6% of his passes. Yes, that is the exact completion percentage he had as a rookie too, so at least we know he's very consistent. Of 39 qualifying quarterbacks that have taken snaps, Zach Wilson is dead last in the league and by a large margin. He has been horrendous by just about every single measure. Whether it's stats, grades, or the eye test, Zach Wilson sucks. This guy was really a second overall pick. He was supposed to be the future franchise quarterback of the Jets, and that's just not happening. It's crazy how bad the Jets fumbled the bag at the 2021 NFL Draft. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones all went after Wilson, but there were some other studs like Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Micah Parsons who were taken a little after Wilson. He came into New York as a rookie and ended up being named the Week 1 starter. Wilson ended up missing 4 games due to a PCL sprain during the year, so he played in 13 games and passed for 2,300 yards and 9 touchdowns to 11 interceptions while completing just 55.6% of his passes. He did have 4 rushing touchdowns, but did fumble 5 times. Wilson was also sacked 44 times for 370 yards, the most in the league. There were 38 qualifiers that took 20% of dropbacks last season, and Wilson was 35th. I think the craziest part about all the recent Zach Wilson struggles and drama is that for the most part, the Jets keep winning. New York is 6-4 and have beaten the Bills, who everyone expected to roll through the entire league. There are some good players on the Jets offense. I've been impressed with rookies Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, at least before his torn ACL, but the success of the Jets has really been for the defense for sure. For starters, this secondary is insane. Sauce Gardner is the real deal. New York made the right pick at the draft, and he is going to dominate opposing wideouts for a long time. DJ Reed is fantastic in the secondary too. Those two together are just lethal. CJ Mosley is a great linebacker, and Quinnen Williams at defensive tackle has finally turned into exactly what the Jets had hoped for when they selected him 3rd at the 2019 draft. The Jets have made a lot of good draft selections in recent years. Zach Wilson just isn't one of them. I hate giving up on a young quarterback so early. The NFL is hard, and it's hard to make that jump, but sometimes when you know, and Zach Wilson has been that bad. I haven't seen any progression from him from the moment he first stepped on the field as a rookie to now. It's hard to see any kind of scenario where he is the future in New York. Zach Wilson has been Jamarcus Russell bad. I think it's right for the Jets to realize that Zach Wilson is not the future guy, and just admit that they are wrong. But at the same time, I do wonder what the point of benching him is. Maybe the Jets do think they can make the playoffs, which is very possible. New York is 6-4 and 1 spot out of the division lead. Granted, they are last in the division technically, but that's just been the case with the East divisions this season. The now starter is Mike White, who did play 3 games for the Jets in 2021. Behind him is Joe Flacco, who we all know is pretty washed at this point of his career. And it's very possible that Zach Wilson is worse than both of them. It's probably likely, actually, but the Jets did just bench Zach Wilson. And honestly, I think it is over. New York is officially in the market for a quarterback, and they have to admit that they were wrong with a 2nd overall pick so badly that they're going to give up on him after 1.5 seasons. And somehow that's probably the right call, because Zach Wilson sucks.